Today we're diving into something really profound, the journey from a fearful attachment style to a secure one. We're going to look at how a stable partner can become this incredible anchor for someone who's, lost in the storm of their own emotions.
So this whole thing really comes down to two very different ways of connecting. On one side, you've got the anchor. This is the partner who's calm, they're consistent, they're soothing. And then on the other side, you have the storm. That's the partner who's caught in this crazy, turbulent push-pull. They want intimacy so badly, but at the same time, they're terrified of it.
And that's really what this explainer is all about. How our securely attached partner, the anchor, can actually help the fearful avoidant partner, the storm, find their way to something called earned secure attachment. Now, this is a tough journey for sure, but it is absolutely transformative.
Okay, so the anchor, they have this incredible, almost innate talent for creating a steady emotional atmosphere. Think of them as a biological regulator. They just naturally provide that sense of safety and calm that's so crucial for soothing their partner's distress. Now, in complete contrast, the storm feels like a lonesome traveler. They are just trapped in this constant internal conflict. They don't have a clear strategy, no game plan for managing these incredibly intense push and pull feelings they have about getting close to someone.
So, you have to ask, where does this internal storm even come from? Well, it almost always builds from a really deep wound in childhood, a wound that creates what you could call an unsolvable paradox.
Just try to imagine this impossible situation for a little kid. The one person who's supposed to be your safe harbor is also the source of your fear. I mean, what do? Your instinct is telling you to run from them, to be safe, but at the same time, you're driven to run to them for comfort. There's just no way out, no resolution.
And when you don't have that secure base, your internal world just kind of shatters. It becomes fragmented. And this leads to something called an opaque mind. It's a real struggle to understand why people do what they do, to read their intentions. And the result? You're constantly on high alert, always hypervigilant.
And this really gets to the core belief that gets hardwired into their nervous system: closeness is inherently dangerous. The very thing they crave more than anything is the same thing their body perceives as a massive threat to their survival.
Okay, so let's bring this into the present. How does all that past trauma actually show up in a relationship today? Well, it creates a very specific and, often pretty painful dance. It all plays out in this repeating cycle. First, they crave intimacy. They reach for it. But as that connection gets deeper and more real, it starts to feel like a danger zone. That old fear just gets triggered, and their entire nervous system screams, "Get out, run, or just freeze." It's all about self-protection.
But here's where the anchor comes in. They provide the stability needed to break that cycle. When the storm gets emotionally dysregulated, when they try to sabotage the connection, the anchor steps in. They act as this incredible buffer, a conflict buster that holds the space.
And by not overreacting to that push away, which is huge, the secure partner's steady, predictable presence starts to slowly, gently retrain the fearful partner's nervous system. It sends a brand new message. Hey, even when things get rocky, we can fix this. This disruption will be set right. The message is, safety is actually possible here.
So, okay, how does this healing actually happen? It's not just magic, It's not random. It's a journey built on a really clear, structured path. A path with 3 key pillars.
And this 3-pillar model is basically the roadmap for the whole transformation. You start by remapping the past, then you learn to manage your mind in the present, and finally, you build a collaborative future together. It's a process.
Ultimately, this is how you know real healing is happening. It's when you can talk about your history, your story, calmly, coherently, without getting completely hijacked by the emotion of it all. You can look at what happened, acknowledge it, but it no longer defines your reality right now.
So let's look at the payoff. What's the incredible result of this whole journey? It's the transformation from being the storm into becoming an earned, secure individual.
And as that healing takes root, the person starts to embody these amazing qualities. We call them the 8 C's, things like compassion, curiosity, clarity, calm. And these aren't just behaviors they're putting on. They represent a whole new integrated self that's emerging from all those fragmented pieces.
And this really shows the fundamental shift, right? You go from being socially dependent, needing other people to regulate your emotions, to being maturely autonomous. You can stand securely on your own 2 feet, but you can also still connect deeply with others. It's the best of both worlds.
And check this out. This is one of the most powerful turnarounds. Vulnerability, the very thing that used to feel like a trap, something to be feared, it completely transforms. It becomes a tool, even a hack, for building the deep connection that they so desperately wanted the whole time.
And this is the powerful takeaway from this whole thing. Your past is not your destiny. It just isn't. A new, secure way of relating to yourself and to other people is absolutely possible, no matter what your history is. But it's earned. It's not just given to you. And when you earn it, man, it changes everything.
So the journey really comes full circle. That lonesome traveler finally stops wandering. After all that hard work, they get to write a whole new life story, and they find a permanent home, not just in their partnership, but inside themselves too.
So, we'll leave you with this question to think about. It's a pretty profound shift in perspective, one that really encourages what you could call pragmatic empathy. It's about learning to see that someone's challenging behaviors aren't usually a personal attack on you, but instead, they're a map, a blueprint of how that person learned to survive.
Hi, I'm John, and this is Iro here. Our curriculum features something for everyone. We know that your pathway to attachment transformation is specific to your parent. Whether you're an FA with a BA partner or an AD recently discarded by a BA, we have you covered. Say for a while, and we hope you'll say, even if for the first time, I will. Yikes.